once again for another edition of Village in Motion. I am pleased to be your Thanksgiving host.
At least you didn't say turkey.
Turkey, well. For today, it is a very cold, it's like a January, not a November Monday. Little nippy out there. I can't believe it's November 25th already, and we're getting ready for the holidays. But as we get ready to embark on all the eating frenzy and all the shopping frenzy, what else happens during the next month? Everything. Spending money,
no
just
sleep.
Stress, no sleep, and we have the three experts on campus they're going to help us stay healthy, they're going to help us stay fit, and they're going to help us stay not nutritious. What am I thinking of, Cindy?
Healthful, energetic,
there we go.
lively.
There you go.
So, Sheri Nidiffer is our nurse practitioner here on campus. Everyone knows Juanita, who gave us the turkey Thanksgiving.
I'm with you, yes.
Juanita Kuntz from the Fitness Center, and of course our dietitian, Cindy Underwood. So I know I always start with Sheri, just because if we're not healthy, we can't do anything else, right? So what would you say of all the things we could do during the next 4 to 5 weeks? What's the best thing we can do to stay healthy during this time period?
Well, actually, I was talking to Cindy on my way over here as I took her the long way over because we needed to get more steps
There
for
you
the
go.
holiday. I think that
Yes.
was my reasoning, right? And I was going through a list of things that we were going to talk about, and she said, and just remember, wash your hands. And I thought that probably is the most important thing because it is flu season, colds, we still have allergies, we turning on the heat in the inside, and it's making our mucous membranes all stressed. So washing your hands is really, really important.
Now, now they've come out with all sorts of neat little things you can, you don't need water anymore to wash your hands with. But then I've read, and you know me, I like to read. I like to go on the internet and go, what? And they really say soap and water is the best.
Right. So we talk about that even on new employee orientation. If you had, an antibacterial stand and you had just the soap and water 20 steps away, what will you do? And I implore them to go wash their hands for 20 seconds. It just helps so much. And even when you're, at dinner, maybe with the grandkids or your own children, and you pull out, every woman has a little antibacterial little compartment in their purse, and they say, oh, put some of this on. Just have them get up and go to the bathroom. Soap and water is so much better.
Okay, but when you don't have that soap and water,
only if you can't get to the ocean, go ahead and use your antibacterial. Use it as much as you can, the soap and water. But if you can't, sure, that's a nice quick fix.
And is there anything else besides washing your hands, which is a preventative from getting the flu and anything else?
Well,
besides staying inside
right,
and barricading yourself?
Right, and the things that we talk about, that we're going to talk about, Juanita will talk about, keeping active, and then Cindy's going to talk about eating well, and of course, eating a healthy diet and staying active during the season. And stress is a really big thing this time of year, obviously. So it's hard to, the other thing we were talking about this morning is just to take some time for yourself and listen to your body. A lot of times people come back into the office to see me and they don't understand why their body hurts. And they've been doing all this stuff. Why does my body hurt? I'm like, it's just trying to knock on the door and say, hey, Diane, it's time to slow down. And it will all get done.
I had the pain
That's
here?
why you have to.
Okay,
Yes.
slow down. Take time for
Yes.
yourself.
Take
It's
a little
okay
bit
to
of
watch
time.
that junky TV show that you won't tell anyone you watch.
Yeah. Let's say for a half an hour.
For a half
It would
an
take
hour.
a little time for yourself. Oprah was right. Take that little 15 minutes for yourself a day, and it will. And usually during that time, I say walk. Take a walk outside, and it will really help a lot.
Now, does it matter if I go outside or inside to take that walk? I mean, in terms of health overall, would it be better for me outside?
If you're getting down to wondering whether you should go outside or stay inside and walk, then you're really getting to the specifics. That's like saying, what type of water should I drink? Aquafina or what's another water? Dasani. You really, that's just walk. I don't care if you walk inside. I don't care if you walk on a treadmill. just do some walking in place. I was at the hospital the other day, and one of the receptionists was just standing there walking. I said, "What are you doing?" She goes, "Oh, this is how I get my steps every day." And she was walking as she had people, she was entering people. So it's really, really important just to let your body move.
And speaking of that, that's a great transition
It
for
is.
the
It
other
certainly is.
turkey person, hat person. So, okay, but I kind of like going outside and exercising. Is there a way I can do that when it starts to get cold and not overheat or be too, underdressed? I mean,
Sure. I mean, I agree with Miss Sheri here that, research says it doesn't matter where you're going to get that activity, you just need to get it. And in fact, I just happened to have some vein things taken care of last week, and I was not to sit for longer than an hour. So every hour I needed to get up and move for 3 to 5 minutes. And so, I mean, I'm at work, so what am I going to do? Well, if I am sitting down, which isn't very often, I would need to get up and I would be helping people. Well, I'm not just going to stand. I am going to be moving my feet. I'm going to be shifting side to side. I'm going to be doing some quad sets, just contracting my muscles, glute sets while you're standing. No one knows you're doing it.
Okay,
but it's
so-
getting the blood flow
so
going.
what are you talking about?
Well,
Can you get
I
up
mean,
and-
yeah,
and
sure.
maybe show
So
me?
if you're just standing here, if you're standing in the elevator or waiting in line, you can't really tell here, but maybe more so in Diane. But if you're getting low here, when Diane locks her knees, you should see her muscles move. So she contracts tight, lock her knees,
Okay.
and there you go. And then your muscles will contract, and then
They're
relax them.
bulging.
And she is Superwoman. But that's a quad set. It's a tightening.
Is this legal? Can you do that?
Really? Sorry. That's too much. But your quadriceps should contract and relax. Contract and relax. Same thing with the glutes. You could be standing in line and
So you
if
just take your knees
tighten
and you
tighten
lock
up.
it?
Tighten up. Tighten
Huh.
up. And your muscles are contracting. And,
Feel it in my back.
and where else would you tighten up? Abdominals. You can do so much.
Well, I remember a few years back reading, this was when I was driving a lot on my commute, and they said, when you're sitting in the car, go ahead and tighten up your stomach and do that as you drive.
Oh, I was in the car 7.5 hours down to Flat Rock and back. So 15 hours in the car. What do you think I was doing? I was going an arch and a contraction. Glutes, point and flex with your feet when you're in the car. I mean, those of you that are seated at home, let's say you're going, well, okay, I have a terrible back. I can't get up. Well, what can you do seated? There's so much you can do. Point and flex with your feet, circles, extensions, quad sets as you come out here. There's a lot you can do when you're in a car.
Well, you can do that on a plane. I mean, you should do that on a plane,
Yeah.
right?
You can't
So-
do that on a plane. The seat's too close.
Well, that's true.
But you can get up and walk.
Kick the person next to you.
But
and go.
you can do these little knee lifts. Like you said, your back hurt. You could lift your knee, and do you feel that right there? That's a stretch of your low back. You start to add a little twist to that, and there's a little bit of oblique work. But your extensions and your contractions, your shoulder blades, squeeze those together and relax. I mean, stretch out your arms. I mean, give yourself a hug. There's so many things you can do to give yourself
someone
a little
else a
hug.
hug.
There's so much you can do if you have to sit in a car. But you should be stopping to get up and walk, do some knee lifts. I mean,
Right. They
know.
say every 2 hours you should, when you're in a
Exactly.
car, you should really get up. I used to when I had the kids. I still kind of do that, but I don't do very many driving road trips. But whenever we stopped, before we got in the car, we had to run around the car 3 times.
that's a great idea.
And whoever got, to the mirror first kind of was the winner.
That's good.
Can't do that
Absolutely.
with an airplane, but
No.
probably arrest
That's why everybody wants the aisle seat, so you can get up and walk when you need to,
Exactly.
and go back there and do your heel and toe raises and knee bends and things like that.
Well, I know
Exactly.
when I flew overseas this summer, I would go in the back by the steward, whatever they call those, compartment, and I would do some, push-ups, standing push-ups
for
and,
you.
Oh, perfect.
and stretches to
Yeah,
avoid
perfect.
that long 8-hour
Right.
plus flight.
But I think your first question was, if I had a choice inside or outside, it's always great to get outside. I mean, just to get some fresh air and just, there's something about, Sheri was saying, take some time for yourself. If you took a 15-minute walk and can just look at the sky and the trees, I mean, we were in Flat Rock this weekend, looking up, the sky was just beautiful. I mean, just to see the stars, so many of them. So if you can get outside with somebody, if you're walking after dark or even in the daytime, go walking with someone and just enjoy the beauty that God has given us to look at. And that alone is almost like a meditation. That can be your prayer that day. That can help you center yourself, and then go out, then you'll come back and be able to be happy with all those kids around you, or relatives that you haven't seen in 15 years or whatever.
And it doesn't matter that I'm not like doing a power walk. I can just go out and walk, stroll.
If you're in good shape, then let's stride out. You want to walk. If you're just a beginner walker, just walk. Just walk as much as you can. Walk in place, like Sheri was saying. Stretch out. There's so many things you can do, even in a car that we just mentioned. But just try to get your blood flow going.
And I like the idea that you're saying to walk outside can be so therapeutic. Mm-hmm. And I recently saw a special on people in Norway, because right now it's very cold outside. Mm-hmm. But what they're dealing with is far colder. Mm-hmm. They take their babies out every day for at least an hour, wow. Little tiny babies, out in that freezing air. And they say it's good for us. It's good to be out in the cold and breathe in that air. And so just to be outside, breathe in that cold air. You're moving, so you'll be okay, and it's a great idea.
Breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. So the nose, the sinuses will help to warm the air and filter the air so that it's not so cold.
Sheri, could I use some of those nasal sprays that they have, that like a nasal rinse, to help when it gets dry?
You can use some of the they have saline over the counter.
Right, that's what.
You can. You don't want to abuse those, so a couple times a week will help flush your nasal cavities. But taking a shower actually helps that a lot too. So it does get very dry. Sometimes it would be good to have a humidifier in the house, because it does get very dry in the house. So that does help also. Mm-hmm. It's a tough time of year.
Mm-hmm. It is, especially when you're trying to eat all the foods that we only eat once a year, at least for Thanksgiving. I only stuff a turkey at Thanksgiving, which is why I turned down the dinner invite, because I knew I would have to stuff the turkey anyway. If I'm going to stuff a turkey, I might as well do it on Thanksgiving than have to do it on Friday or Saturday. So, Cindy, how do I avoid putting on extra weight?
I think every year we talk about this, how to avoid extra weight gain during the holidays. And this year I want to take it a little bit in a different direction, because that's just kind of bringing you, stopping the negative from happening. But what I really want folks to do this year is bring some positivity into their eating this holiday season. And I want to make sure that eating is not an afterthought. And I know that your time for meals can get crunched when you're busy and you're shopping. So let's keep some really good things on hand around your apartment that you can have that will be healthy, so that you're not only gonna not lose ground this holiday season, but let's make you even healthier this Thanksgiving and Christmas.
And you brought some items to.
I brought some items, some really great things. Canned pumpkin is nothing new, but what is new are these tiny little 8-ounce cans. These are really small, and why I like these is because now you can add pumpkin into things that you already do. I love it in oatmeal in the morning. Just stir a couple spoonfuls of this pumpkin, and with this small can, it doesn't go bad quickly. You can eat this and not have to waste it.
So why would I do that? I mean, what's the seriously, why would I say? I mean, wow, that's an amazing idea. I've never thought.
Oh, it's so good. And just for the same reason that you like a pumpkin spice latte in your coffee, it's kind of a holiday taste. But this tiny can has more than 200% of your vitamin A for one day. So if you have a couple spoonfuls in something, mix it into your vanilla or plain yogurt, put some cinnamon on top.
Wow.
That is going to be like a
Yeah.
seasonal taste treat.
And would that be healthier than buying the yogurt with all the,
Absolutely, and this is pumpkin is low calorie and low fat. It has tons of vitamin A, like I already said. It has vitamin C and vitamin E in it. So this is basically a nutrition powerhouse in this tiny can.
wow.
Nutrition
I'll have,
I
I'm
like
gonna,
that.
yeah,
Like
I'll
our
put that on
Cindy,
my list.
nutritional
So these
powerhouse.
are great. I love that.
Okay.
And I also we're always trying to be heart healthy, watch our sodium. This is a brand new product called Salt for Life. People who are using salt substitutes are often using the blue can. It's called Morton's Light Salt. But this is new, made with sea salt. It still has the potassium added, and that's how they cut back on the sodium. But a quarter teaspoon of table salt has over 500 milligrams of sodium. And this has just over 100.
Wow.
And it's not a salt substitute per se?
So it's like a substitute for table salt. And you always want to check with your doctor because there are a few drugs that you would not want the extra potassium. So just make sure that your doctor has cleared that before you use it. But this is a really great product. This is what we use at home now. And so you're just not dehydrating yourself with all that salt. You're not running your higher risk of cardiac problems during the holidays.
And I've heard that sea salt is really like 100 times better than regular salt. Is that, or is that just
that's-
the marketing people who want you to?
I'm not sold on that idea per se, but I do like the taste of it better. And this product, if you've ever used Morton's Light Salt, has a less of a bitter aftertaste. And so this is what I like better. It's brand new. If you can't find it in your grocery store, you can get it on Amazon for maybe $5, $6.
Salt for life.
Cool. Okay, what else do you have that?
So I wanted to also, a lot of us like tuna fish, and that's the kind of our quick go-to. We'll make a tuna fish sandwich if we have nothing in the house and we need something quick. But sometimes by the time if you want to chop up onions or celery, it's time consuming and you'd wish you'd never started. So
She's reading my mind.
I brought these new called Tuna Sensations. I have lemon pepper and spicy Thai chili. So all you have to do is mix it up with a little bit of, you can use light mayo. At home I like to use a little bit of sour cream because it's even lighter than mayonnaise and it's just a less heavy taste to me.
Can you use plain yogurt too?
Sure.
Greek yogurt.
Of course, it has to be. Greek
Everything. You can use yogurt for everything. But this is something that you
Instead of
can
mayo?
pick up. It's a single serving and it tastes good already so that you don't have to be worrying about adding a bunch of things. You have to make it quick. And along that same line, I brought this to-go salmon. These aren't even metal. These are plastic little containers, single servings, and they just have a rip-off lid. So it's very easy to rip it off. You don't need a can opener, and you can also prepare that in any way. You could make a salmon cake or a sandwich, something easy, but you're still getting tons of protein.
And it just occurred to me that those 3 items would be good to have on hand in case we run into an emergency, and we won't talk about the power going
No.
out. But when
That's
you
a
have,
great idea.
So you're not only set for the holidays, but you're set for an emergency in case something bizarre happens.
Never thought of that, but that's great. That's great.
my job. Oh. Now, the last 2 items, one I know, and I have been using, the one you just picked up, the chia seed, which I think has an interesting background because people think, that chia plant.
Chia pet.
Chia
Chia
pet.
pet. And it's basically, that's what it's from.
So tell us why you use it.
Well, again, I was reading
It's always
in
trouble.
the health section. They talked about a year ago, and they talked about chia seed being a really great source of fiber, and that if you could sprinkle it on your cereal or in your yogurt. And it was something that was very nutritious, so I went ahead and Whole Foods has it in bulk, so it's a little bit cheaper. I know Anthony here at Channel 6 brings it in and puts it in his yogurt, and when I think about it at home, like when I have yogurt, plain yogurt, like, oh, put some of that in. It doesn't really have any taste, but it does have kind of a nutty texture, I guess. I mean, crunchy. So
It's a little crunchy.
Right.
And we've talked about flax seeds before. And this is the same idea, but also these are really tiny. You can see these little grains, and you don't have to grind it. So flax seeds you really want to grind and get kind of the
Powdery,
meal.
right.
But this, you don't have to grind it. You add it to yogurt. You can soak them in a little bit of water and add it to any baked good. And 1 tablespoon of these chia seeds has 5 grams of fiber.
Whoa.
So
I have put it in like my pancakes mix when I've
My
done
daughter
it.
uses it in her oatmeal.
Right, that's what
yeah,
I do
you
every
can do
morning.
that.
Your oatmeal.
A lot of people add it to smoothies, and some people just put it in lemonade. They'll just kind of throw a little spoonful of it and have their lemonade or lemon water with them. And it's just you kind of feel healthy when you do it. I've had that once and I liked it. I wouldn't do it every day, but this is kind of a substitute for flax seeds.
See, now I still do the flax. I do both. So now when you see my oatmeal,
It doesn't look like oatmeal anymore.
it doesn't.
And you
And
gotta
now you
use
have
the
to add the
pumpkin.
pumpkin.
And
yeah,
now we're going to
right.
make it orange. So
And now the other package, I don't know anything. I haven't read anything, so now it's all on you, Cindy.
So hemp seeds it's again the same idea. You're getting a lot of protein. So this is at 33% protein right here. And it has a lot of omega-3 fatty acids. So these are the healthy fats. You want that for your heart. And the way it tastes, it's kind of like ground peanuts a little bit. Not a real peanutty flavor, a little less strong like pine nuts. But it has such a great texture, and you can put that into yogurt. This I love in yogurt. It also is great in oatmeal. You can put this in baked goods. So if you're going to be cooking a bunch of junk, you might as well put something healthy in it, at least to give yourself some extra fiber, extra omega-3s, and some really good protein along with the sugar in those cookies.
if you're making brownies, put some of
Right.
this with the walnuts on
there you
top.
go.
That's right.
That would be-
Chocolate and,
Yeah, that'd
and
be-
hemp seeds.
Well,
Sure.
this weekend I was reading about kale,
There you go.
and that is the new power food, evidently. And there's a
Kale
Loves
chips.
kale.
a scientist who's come out with a book like 50 ways to use kale, and he had a chocolate chip recipe that he added kale to, and they said it was amazing. I mean, you could see the kale in the chip, but so have you?
I have not tried kale in cookies.
No, but I mean, just kale in general.
Kale is amazing. Kale is really good for you. Have you made kale chips?
I have.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's
So-
awesome at making kale chips.
So
They
what
are
do you-
so good.
What do you? How do you do that? I mean,
It just put them in the oven with a little olive oil, just a little bit, and
Like
you
the
just
whole-
and you just bake it.
the
and they just
whole
come.
whatever branch. I don't know what
And
you
you
call
got
it.
to you got to separate them out a little bit, of course, like chips. But they're
And you could put the sea salt on them.
I can
Right.
now put
Now
the
we
sea
can
salt
put
on, and then on top
healthier.
of that, put the tuna. Mix a little pumpkin.
And,
Put some
and,
honey
and
seed.
some
yeah, this is-
hemp.
I think we have a good Thanksgiving dinner right there.
So you take the kale, you rinse it, and you put it. What's the
Oh,
temperature?
you rinse it?
I-
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
That's right. We want some dirt. We need.
So
dirt
usually
in
like 325, 450. You just have to watch them till when they get crispy.
Uh-huh.
You know, I use a spray bottle for the
olive
oil.
oil,
Yeah, so that you're not doing too much. And sometimes I add a little balsamic vinegar on it just to give it a little bit of taste. A
You
little bit
can
more
buy
taste. You
kale
can buy
chips
'em.
in the store, but it's a fairly small bag, maybe about this size,
So
and they're about
expensive.
$6
Yeah, I
for
was
a
gonna say,
tiny
like-
bag.
So
So,
you can
but
make
you
your
might
own.
want to do that just to see if you like them. And if you do like kale chips,
There's
try
definitely a
making it. There's a
taste.
million recipes
But it's-
online. They're so good.
It's so fabulous in soup. You can put kale in every soup. it's so good.
Well, you
What else
could
do
probably
they need?
put the chia seed and the hemp seed in your
vegetable
soups
soup.
too. It would be thicker.
Or something.
It does, because the chia seed does start to expand
Yes.
when it hits.
It's almost like a brand, almost like psyllium.
Right. Because it forms a gel. If you
Right.
put water on it, it will make a gel. But if you're making baked goods, go ahead and throw the whole gel in there. Mix it with water. Then after 3 or 5 minutes, it will form that gel. Throw the thing of gel in there. Use your
it up.
hand mixer. It incorporates perfectly.
And that's one of the benefits, at least for chia seed, is that it will help, it expands in your stomach so that you don't
Fuller.
feel,
Right.
isn't that?
The image of the.
But I mean, it helps keep you fuller.
That's,
so that,
that's a benefit of fiber. It helps keep you fuller longer, and it also helps everything move through so that you're going to stay healthy.
So at Thanksgiving, just kind of quickly, what are some tips? I mean, I got this big dinner, right? We have to have stuffing, we have to have sweets, some will have mashed potatoes and sweets, right? You have, of course, the turkey, which is kind of an afterthought. You know, cranberries. Any thoughts as to?
Eat what you love. I mean, you don't waste your plate
So go to the
and your
pie
stomach
first,
room.
and then do the
If
turkey
that's
for
your
dessert.
favorite, eat the pie first. You don't, what I just hate is when people feel so sick after a Thanksgiving meal. You should still feel really good. You should still have energy. So eat until you're full. So if that means that you eat your pie first, go ahead and eat your pie first on Thanksgiving. Eat what you love. And don't be afraid to take home leftovers. If you see Uncle Bob is piling up 3 plates of food, then pile your own in a little Tupperware and take it home. You eat 1 plate of food, Diane.
It's the seconds that get me. Actually, I'm usually fine until dessert. Then I go, oh, I shouldn't have had the dessert.
That's that
But
20-minute
if I have
wait.
it earlier, then, you know.
That's right.
That-
Spread the joy.
And Juanita, what about you? So we got Thanksgiving coming up, and we won't even talk about Hanukkah is going to be. God, people who are celebrating Hanukkah have to first do the Thanksgiving dinner, and then they have to do the Hanukkah dinner, right? They're really in high drive.
Well, I'm with Cindy here. You know, I say eat what you love, but I would also say, you know, don't just pig out every single day and then go nuts. Think, oh, Thanksgiving, I've just been blowing it all week. I might as well just go for it. I say, you know, save your calories. Save yourself for what you really like Cindy says. And like these days leading up to Thanksgiving, I mean, everyone's going to be running crazy or traveling. Then pick some healthy foods, nuts in the car, things like that, and then have your Thanksgiving meal. Save your calories for what you really like, and don't go crazy eating just potato chips and things like that just because they're quick and easy. Plan your trips and eat wisely and move as much as you can, you know.
So in between the
In
dinner
between.
and dessert, you should be doing all those.
Everyone should take a nice little walk
stretches
before they
and
have
take a
dessert, you know.
Run around the car outside.
They call them a Chinese fire drill. Is that what it
There
was?
you
used
go.
to
Yeah,
be?
that's what it could be a Thanksgiving drill. Everyone
That's
outside,
right.
let's
That's
see what.
right.
So, all right, so right now, I haven't heard any really, I hate to say
Gee,
this.
don't.
So we won't say it, we'll keep that mum, but we're pretty healthy right now, right? So washing hands,
Yes. Wash your
drinking
hands.
lots of fluids maybe?
Drinking lots of water. Yeah, it's a really good idea. I think before, you know, one of the tricks that people sometimes use before they eat is they drink an 8-ounce glass of water. And then the other thing that happened to me this weekend, I was really craving some sweets in a really bad way, but I grabbed a little tangerine and had a little, the clementine, because they were so easy. And I had a clementine, and then I was full. That was good for me. So I think portion control is also something. And
Definitely.
all the places you stop along the road, traveling is an excuse. Every place has a healthy option now. Even the 7-Elevens had fruit, and so
Bananas,
you just
right
have to
there
make
by the register.
make a better choice.
You know, one thing that Sheri said earlier about, the washing of your hands, but I guess because I was at the theater this weekend, I know this is crazy. Somebody just sneezed. I mean, there you were. You're watching all those germs go. I was like appalled. I mean, if you have to sneeze, and you're going to have to, just sneeze into your arm. I guess I just thought everybody did that. I was just appalled to see people sneezing and here's a crowd. And I thought that was awful. So
You're not at Greenspring anymore.
I'm not at Greenspring. Greenspring knows to sneeze into their arms, but just the general public does not. So
Yes.
you definitely have to wash your hands often, like Sheri and Cindy have said, because people aren't as polite as the people here at Greensprings are, and covers up their sneezes and things like that. So you're touching the same areas that other people are, and they're not as health
Which is
conscious.
why we have to wash our hands.
That's
Wash our
exactly
hands,
right.
Wash our hands. I know when I go to a restaurant, I may order and then I'll say, I'll be right back, and
that's
I go and wash my hands and come back
And sneeze into your
and
hands.
then sneeze. Well, as always, I want to thank Cindy Underwood for bringing all sorts of goodies for us too, and I love that Salt for Life. I'll have to look for that.
Yeah, me too.
Juanita telling us to keep moving.
As usual.
And of course, Sheri keeping us healthy and hopefully not doing anything that's going to lead us into having to go into the doctor's office or anything more serious.
Right.
And I'm here to tell you these three ladies will be back next year in February when we turn into red.
Did we sign that contract already?
We already signed the contract. So.